Entrepreneurs and small business owners, are you feeling overwhelmed by lack of capital, growth challenges, or personal branding? You are not alone. UCS Advisors is here for you. We're professional capital raising advisors committed to helping you secure funding and grow your business. Are you ready to impress investors? Check your investor readiness with our free 45-second quiz at ucsquiz.com. We believe in you. Visit ucsquiz.com and start your success journey. And remember, always be willing to achieve your greatness.
Boxcar offers direct luxury commuting service from various areas in New Jersey to the east side of Manhattan. For those of us that have experienced the demise of Penn Station, this is a welcome alternative. With their service, you can pop into the city on one of their luxury buses, which feature free Wi-Fi, a clean restroom, ample legroom, charging stations at each seat, as well as professional chauffeurs to make your daily commute actually enjoyable. For all of our listeners, use code GS25 when you download the app and save $25 on your first commute. Ready to travel into the city in style? Download the app on your personal device or visit their website at www.boxcar.com.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Greetings from the Garden State. I'm your host, Mike Ham. We are here at Twin Elephant Brewing Company in Chatham, New Jersey with Tim Besecker. Tim, welcome to the show.
What's up? What's up? Happy to be here.
I'm happy to be here, too. Like I was telling your wife before, who was your wife and co-owner,
Yep.
right?
Cindy. Yep.
Cindy, and that I live in Morristown, and this is my first time here, which as soon as I walked...
Blasphemy. No,
I know, seriously, dude. Like, I walked down the little patio that you have back here, and I was like instantly like, how have I not been here at least one more time?
Right.
You know, but it's like a cool spot, and it's awesome. So thank you for having.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So we met at Hops.
Yeah, great spot.
Kind of like a random thing. But and I've had Twin Elephant beers like other places.
Sure.
And then, but you know, you guys are been here for 7 years, right?
Yeah, this past May, 7 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, time flies, like they say. But yeah, it's been a fun ride. A lot of changes in 7 years. This industry, it can move pretty fast, especially you throw COVID in there. You know?
Yeah,
it's like,
and all the stuff that's happening with breweries right now,
legislation and stuff,
like a big thing right now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I want to learn a little bit about you first before we kind of get rolling with Twin Elephant and all this stuff. So, Are you a Jersey guy originally?
I am. Yeah, born and raised. So my family's from Ohio originally, and my mom, I'm an identical twin. We'll probably get into that a little bit because it's part of the name and everything.
Sure.
But my mom moved from Ohio to New Jersey when she was pregnant with me and my brother. So roots in Ohio, but born and raised in New Jersey. Actually, like 2 towns over, believe it or not.
Okay. Stray too far with the business either.
No, and it was on purpose.
Okay.
But me, Cindy, and there's a third partner, Scott. We all went to same high school. I'm a little bit older than them, but at one point in time, we were all in the same high school at the same time.
Sure.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so Jersey through and through, you know. That's why you're like, this podcast makes a lot of sense for me, man.
Sure. I love Jersey brewery, Jersey guy.
I love supporting the state.
And I know you have a beard now, but apparently, like, it was more robust.
It was mega
prior.
Yeah. It was actually, I started growing it when we decided to open the place. Yeah. You know, it was kind of one of those like signature, like, all right, we're doing this. I'm not gonna cut this until we actually get, everything going and we're successful and everything.
Right.
It went longer than
you were so wrapped up and everything.
Yeah.
It just was like, oh shit, my beard is so long.
Well, funny thing is, like, people start to get to know, it becomes like a lot of your persona, as I'm sure, but like in the industry, it's like I met so many new people and they kind of like knew me that way.
Sure.
So part of it was like, man, if I cut this, like, are people not even going to recognize? It was like that weird thing goes through your head,
Like, I worked at a place, sidebar story, but in a former life, I was a college baseball coach.
Nice.
And I worked at a school up in Rochester, and I had like a longer than this even, beard. I was a pitching coach there and all that kind of stuff. So I worked in that athletic office for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
And I was looking for normal jobs up there and shaved. Clean, which the first time I've been clean shaven since high school.
Like baby face.
Yeah, baby face. And I was standing at a football game, and like one of the basketball coach, I think, walked over, and I was like, "Hey, Rob," and he like did like a triple take, and he was like, ham? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, what the fuck? You know? But
crazy,
like, yeah, but it's crazy like how that just, but when I shave my face, I look like a fat 12-year-old. So it just, it's better.
You always look totally different.
Totally different. Okay, so you've known, obviously, your wife and your other partner since high school.
Yeah.
Did you guys talk about this in high school?
So, yeah,
like, hey, let's open a brewery. Yeah.
We all have had our own very unique journeys through craft beer, like getting introduced to it, just as a consumer and a fan, right? And then transitioning into like making beer, right? So for me, I was probably, it was 2001. I went on a cross-country trip in college. I was drinking like imports and whatnot, so I wasn't just drinking like Miller Lite and Miller High Life, but we go out west. No hate.
That's
I just mean like
go-to now.
Yeah. I was just being, I just meant like I was being a little bit, like adventurous, right? But we went out west and we were driving up Pacific Coast Highway and we stopped at like a little bodega store, and there was like bottles. It was just like the label was like IPA. It was like all it said on it was Stone, Lagunitas is like old school original IPA.
Yeah.
And I had that. I was like, I'll grab this. We were camping, and it was just one of those like click moments of like, what, and like, that sort of like really propelled me into that like discovery phase of craft, like really going down that rabbit hole. And at the time, it's obviously way different than it is now.
Yeah. Especially in Jersey too, I would imagine.
Yeah, there was nothing. There was nothing. There was nothing. Not that there was nothing. I don't want to insult the people that were here.
Sure.
There just wasn't a lot going on.
Like for you guys to be here for 7 years, that's a long time in like New Jersey craft beers.
For sure. And it all changed in 2014, which we can get into. But so Scott, I knew them in high school and I knew Cindy in high school, but we weren't like together until much later on, right? So we kind of did our own thing, college and everything else. But Scott went to school in Vermont, caught the homebrewing bug up there.
Okay.
His senior thesis was like a documentary, and he interviewed all the big guys up at the time up in Vermont. Yeah, like awesome. Kimmich from Alchemist and all these people. It was so cool. It was like shaky cam. It was like old school, like shitty footage. Yeah. So we, he started homebrewing. He came back and he was like, yeah, I started this hobby or whatever. And he's like, do you want to make some beer? And I was like, yeah, it sounds awesome, man. I've been into drinking craft beer. Yeah. So anyway, we start homebrewing like crazy we homebrewed for 10 years. Yeah. Before we opened this place. So we made a lot of beer on that scale, right? A lot of learning, a lot of R&D, a lot of figuring stuff out. Again, back then, it was a lot different than it is now. You have a lot more, as a homebrewer, a lot more available to you, like equipment-wise.
Oh, yeah. I had education. Homebrewing kits. Yeah. Mr. Beers.
Yeah, that was like
another
the OG one.
I forget what the other one is, but yeah.
But, we figured it out ourselves, man, and just kind of trial by error and all that stuff. And then Cindy went to college with a guy who was a big homebrewer. So she lived in a house with him, and he was constantly making beer, had a kegerator there. So that was her sort of entry into making beer. Yeah. Right? And then we got together in like 2008, personally got together, right? Yeah. And then we kept making beer. And then me and Scott were like, we want to do something. And she's like, I don't know. And we're getting married. And she's like, if you can make all the beer for our wedding, right? Like literally the entire, like 16 different styles, logistically plan it out, do all that stuff. Like I'll think about doing the business plan with you, right? Like actually taking that time. Right. Yeah. And we ended up pulling it off. We did it at a vineyard, ironically, and they ended up being really pissed about it. But like, because nobody drank wine. Yeah, right. But it was kind of like a catalyst to get us going. There were a lot of other things that pushed us over, the edge to start something. But so in 2014, like we were alluding to before, the laws changed in New Jersey. So before 2014, if you were going to open a brewery, you needed to invest heavily in a large scale production facility because all you could do is distribute beer. Sure. You couldn't have anybody come here and drink on site. Sure. So you need to make a lot to make the margins in that type of business model, right? And you have to have a lot of money to start the operation.
Yeah.
So you
because at that point, like how many could there have been?
There was 23 breweries before that, right? You're talking like Flying Fish.
We had like the Anheuser-Busch one and
so I'm talking even crafts. Not even that. Like there was 23 like craft breweries.
Gotcha.
Right.
It was Kane back then.
Kane wasn't even open. They were before 14. Yeah, they were open. Carton was open. Like a couple like Ramstein up in North Jersey. A couple you wouldn't even think about, like Flying Fish.
I feel like Cape May,
River Horse
was River Horse. Yeah,
Cape May was right before that. You're right. They were open before 2014. But then in 2014, they changed all the laws to let you have a tap room, so you could have a model that you could start smaller and make good margin from pouring draft beer.
Right.
Have people come to your place and drink. Right. So it was this big boom. We were number 50.
Wow.
In 2016. Yeah, 16. Yeah.
So when you start homebrewing with Scott, like he comes back from Vermont and he's all like jacked up on this thing. Does it ever like cross your? Was like when he asked you to start brewing beer with him? Was that something like, hey, this could be a business at some point?
Or was it just like,
hey, no, it's okay. Like we're gonna pick apart the story, but was like that. The mindset?
No,
it was just like,
so it was all hot.
Brew our own beer, so we don't actually have to like buy beer.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it was just also like wanting to learn, right? Like because you're enjoying, this craft beverage, and you want to know like how did you get from A to B, right? So like a lot of studying books, right? Like I mean, like there was stuff on the internet, not as much as there is now,
of course, right?
But like you're reading books, you're studying, you're doing all this stuff. We wanted to learn how to do that, so it was really like a journey of like, can we make this thing as good as this other thing that we drank?
Yeah,
right. Like, and I never really thought it would ever become anything. Like I went to, funny enough, Siggy and I went to Rutgers undergrad. Then I went to business school. So I like knew I wanted to do something entrepreneurial at the time. But when I got out of college, I ended up syncing up with a friend that was building homes, right? Or doing like large renos and like building new houses and like fun like project management stuff. And like it was really small company and it was fun. But then in '08, the market tanked.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, there goes that.
Yeah, there goes that.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want to do the corporate thing. Like that was very much not that. Right. But I had no choice at the time. So I got into tech in '08. And, I started at a media company, like a publishing company.
Okay.
Back then. And I just was like, I want to learn everything about digital media and, the website, and, like data and everything. So I did all that. So while we were homebrewing for all those years, I was kind of like, I had that corporate career. I still have a corporate gig. I still have a day job. Yeah.
So do I.
Yeah. We all do, right? Like that's how we grind, right?
Don't tell them I do this. They definitely don't listen, as far as I know.
But I think the moment we thought we could actually do something was like after that wedding, and like, we were doing homebrew competitions and all that, and getting really good feedback, and it was just like maybe we can do something, So we did the business plan. Obviously, I educationally we both had business education background, so that was natural, and we just kind of jumped off the cliff as everyone does when they start something. Right? Like you just make it happen. We started super small, man. Like we didn't get investors. Like we like bootstrapped the money we needed.
This is the place.
Yeah, this is the place we started. But production wise, we started like. We were a 2-barrel system, so a barrel of beer is 31 gallons, right? The big half-barrel kegs that you see?
Yeah.
A barrel is 2 of those.
Got it.
So we started making 3 to 4 of those every time we brewed. That was it. That was all the beer.
Lot.
Right, not a lot of beer. And nobody really, ideally you never started that small, and like, we wouldn't have if we had the
if you were starting
capital,
now,
right?
Or even
actually to that point though, if we were starting now, I would never. The competition is too much now that you can't do what we did then. Now, right? When we opened here, there was the closest brewery would magnify is like 35 minutes. Like there was nothing else, right? So for better or for worse, people are going to come here if they want craft beer and they live in the area.
Right.
Now, I mean, you got 8 breweries in, pretty close vicinity.
Yeah.
Which is great,
Of course.
It's great for the industry. It's great for us. The more good breweries around, the more people travel, visit, come hit a couple,
almost like a tour
at a time. Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and so you start brewing these beers, and then at what point do you like get one where you're like, wow, this is really good, or like, or even when you start thinking that this could be a business,
sure,
you're like, okay, I know we can do this one like really well,
sure,
and these will be kind of the ones that are like the flagship ones that get us like off the ground,
right.
Small system.
Yeah. So when we never wanted to do flagships necessarily, right? Like,
so is there a flagship?
So flagships happen for us when the public makes it happen, right?
Yeah, right.
But we didn't want to set out to be like, these are the 6 beers we're going to make the most of.
Yeah,
right. Our business plan had variety as a big piece of it, right?
Yeah.
We wanted, and that's actually luckily what happened with the trend in craft was a lot of people wanted to keep trying new stuff, right? But we didn't know that wasn't happening when we created the business plan.
Right.
We just, as brewers, wanted to make a lot of different types of beer, right? And when did we know that our beers were like, our homebrew was like, oh, we could probably do this?
Yeah.
You enter into competitions, you get certified judge feedback of like, this is really good, these are the reasons why, blah, 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 or these are the issues with it. So like, you get a lot of that feedback. And then we started doing like these kind of like events that were like professional events, but we would like bring some homebrew, and like some people in the industry were trying some of the beers, and it was like, hey, this is like pretty good.
Yeah.
Like this, and it, like, obviously there's only so far you can go on the homebrew side, right? Like, you could make something professional level on the homebrew side, but there are limitations, right?
Yeah.
So part of it was also like, oh, are we hitting like, I want to know what we can't do on the homebrew side that we could do with a professional system, but it was more like, your friends always tell you that the liquid's good, right? Like,
of course.
They're always
their friends always love it. It's funny, like, how many stories like that in not just beer, but just like
whatever you're doing, right?
Like the Daddy Matty's in Madison, the barbecue place. Like, that's another very similar story where like he was cooking for his friends and they're like, this is really good. So then he started charging them to see if it was actually good.
Are you going to pay for this?
Yeah. Well, so he did. So he was like, I'll charge you, what it cost me to make it, plus a premium to make sure that you're not just like bullshit me. And he would donate the premium to like the Interfaith Food Pantry or something like that. But like, that's how he kind of like used his friends. To like get
weed through the...
Yeah, right. And said, figure out like if it was going to be something that he was going to actually do, you want to make sure that it was like, it's just like something that people were actually going to buy.
Yeah.
So like, your friends can, they're great. And it's good to have friends, but they might blow smoke because they're your friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But, all right, cool. So we're a little over time, but I'm going to take our first break on this episode. So this is the Greetings from the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Cam. We're here with Tim Besecker at Twin Elephant Brewing Company in Chatham, New Jersey. We'll be right back.
Voted one of the top 100 jazz clubs in the world, Shanghai Jazz in Madison, New Jersey has been entertaining its customers for almost 30 years with world-class live music, great food, and a commitment to hospitality that creates an exceptional atmosphere. Plus, if you're in the mood for a creative cocktail and incredible vibe, be sure to check out Encore Speakeasy, located downstairs in Shanghai Jazz. As one of my favorite restaurants in the area, I personally guarantee you will have a great experience. Check out the music schedule, the menu, or to make a reservation, head to shanghaijazz.com.
Hi, it's Brian from Operation K9 Beethoven. In partnership with Greetings from the Garden State podcast, check out our new t-shirt with their logo on it. All sales benefit Operation K9 Beethoven, helping veterans, family members, and first responders one paw at a time. For more information and to buy a shirt, go to OperationK9Beethoven.com.
All right, we're back for segment 2 of this episode of Greetings from the Garden State. I'm your host, Mike Ham. We're here at Twin Elephant Brewing Company in Chatham, New Jersey with Tim Besecker. So in the first segment, we learned all about your apparent love for craft beer that just was like a random thing.
Right.
It eventually like when you had that first, what did you say it was?
It was like the Lagunitas, the original joint.
So like that first one, you were like, this is going to be my entire future.
Yeah.
Not entire future, but a future.
I was going to put effort into that space.
Yeah. And I've had that moment, but it's just like, I need to drink all of these.
Right.
Not make them.
You try all of them.
Yeah, you try every single one that there is. But okay, so once you guys like decide that this is gonna be a business,
sure.
Take me through like, because we talked all about how like the times were different back then, and you know, kind of opening was very small scale. But in this space, which is can we talk about the space?
Yeah, absolutely.
First?
Yeah.
Let's talk about this
for sure.
It's awesome.
Let's go space.
It's very like. I love a brewery that has a good space.
Yeah.
And if a brewery has a bad space,
it's very apparent.
Yeah. Or like even just like a brewery that has a space that's like I'm not in a brewery. I'm
in a warehouse.
Yeah. Or like I'm in like an Apple store.
Yes.
You know, like those are something like that too.
A little too clean.
Yeah. It's like, I need to have a little bit of dirt, but a little bit of, you know.
That's so funny. That's like exactly what we are. So.
That's all the notes you guys are taking.
Yeah. The space. Yeah. We want a place with dirt. The space. So we looked. So back when we were looking for warehouse space, we would call around, and building owners would be like, "Screw off!" Like literally, like we would be like, "Oh, we're gonna do a brewery," and they would just like hang up on the phone. I swear to God. So it was very new at that time, and they were skeptical that we would be in the space for any length of time, right? And they were just like, get the fuck out, you know? And we were just like discouraged because like in this area of New Jersey, there's not a lot of warehouse space.
No, it's like not a warehouse spot.
It's not a warehouse spot. And
Morris County really as a whole is not.
Yeah. And we wanted, so the reason we were looking close to where we grew up is like when we were kids, like young 20 to 28, there was nothing cool around here. Like we wanted a place like 10 years ago us could go and hang out and feel comfortable in a very cool spot that was engaging, and like you could like have conversations with random people. Like that didn't exist, right? There were sports bars, but like, you know, the vibe's different, right? Like, so anyway, we were so discouraged because we couldn't find a place. We were looking. Frenchtown is like far from right? But there was a place down there, and we knew in the seasons, tons of people go there. So like in summer, but in the winter, like 1,500 people live there. You know? So it was like, I don't think this is the greatest idea. Plus it was like 40-minute drive from where we live. So it was like, but we were so desperate to open something. Like once you're over the hump of like, we have the business plan, we need a place. Like you just want to open, you know? And we were almost going to make a poor decision, but, Scott has a dog and he walks everywhere, and he was walking the dog around this area and just happened to, this wasn't even on the listed on the market, and he like looked in, he saw it was like open. It used to be a rehab spot, like physical therapy, and then
space.
There were mirrors like
that's right, because out front's like
the building itself has a lot of different, there's like a pediatrician and an accountant, like there's officey stuff, but in this warehouse space it was before that there was like some productions, like manufacturing stuff, but it was rehab, and there were mirrors all on every single wall that we had to get like a million years of bad luck to break down and everything, right? But like it was the truth.
You like smashing them, like,
they were glued. They were glued to the wall.
I mean, like
I know. Everyone,
you're like, God damn it.
Yeah, like we need some good luck to open this new business. Break another mirror, you know? Like it was like. It was like, that's probably not going to help. But it was the only way to get them down. Unless we wanted to have this weird brewery space with like all this space.
Like
people were just like, oh, jeez.
How many people are in here?
But it was, so everything in here, it was wide open warehouse. So we're no wall. So everything you see here, we put here, right? And the idea, because we started very small, we wanted to have more space towards the tap room for people to come in and less towards production. And now we're sort of kind of flipping that where we need more production and less, not less tap room space, but as a ratio, more production than tap room. But so this whole thing's DIY. Like Scott's dad's a contractor. I was building houses, like I told you. So like I knew some stuff. So we did besides like framing the walls and the heavy electric, like we did most of this ourselves. Like the table you're sitting at was a barn that we reclaimed, like a collapsed barn that was Scott's uncle's from the 1800s.
That's awesome.
That we went in there with a backhoe and chains in our hands and pulled all this stuff out into a U-Haul.
Like even
brought it back. So my buddies these were the beams of the barn.
Okay.
This table is crazy. My buddy built this. He's a carpenter. And these are the beams of the barn. And he did all these like hand chiseled joints and everything. Yeah. And the legs are like crazy. So the siding of the barn is up in here that we reclaimed. So we're like everything we reclaimed. The flooring is the bar. Like it's got bones to it. Like it's got like people like this isn't normal stuff you buy at like Home Depot. Of course. You know what I mean? Like, and we wanted that to come through when people came here. We wanted them to feel like kind of like that comfort of like things that have been around a long time that have stories,
right?
You know,
you feel like you have a connection to it, but you're not really sure exactly how.
Yes, and maybe just that it centers, like levels you, gives you a level of comfort to like have a conversation with a stranger, or like
you said at this long community table.
Exactly. Like put your phone down for a little bit. Exactly. And, like, have a combo. Right? So we wanted some soft elements too. Not that wood is soft, but like instead of just like concrete and metal, like and tile, right? You know, wood kind of like because it is. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you look up, you got warehouse ceiling, of course. But we painted everything black so it brings the eye down when you're sitting in here. You're not looking up there, right? So it's very thought out how we. So my buddy I went to high school with became like he lives in Brooklyn. He became like an interior design guy in Brooklyn, and he did the design of this place, and he freaking every weekend took the train down, slept on our couch, helped us build this place out. Like not only to design, like, but he's like a homie from the day, you know, like, and it's just like amazing. Like I think people can kind of subconsciously feel that, right? Like I know it's a little corny, but like
no, that's
you know, like
when I said that I liked the space, it just like.
You weren't really sure, like, exactly why?
Exactly.
Like,
but you know that it's, like, thoughtful in some way. You know what I mean? Like, like this, you know, the mural that's behind you on YouTube. Which
that was the barn door that slid open.
Yeah.
You know?
And now that I, like, see it, I see the hinges on the side.
Yeah, exactly.
And now I, like, get it.
Yeah.
You know? But that adds to, like, the whole...
100%.
The whole vibe of it.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I like it.
I mean,
There's also this random, like, librarian desk.
Yeah, dude, this was God's that, like... It's little things like, but they all have a story, right? Yeah. People love a story, right? Like you have to have a purpose for what you're doing. Because if you just slap something together, like people go to these places and it's just like, you know, whatever industry you're in, right? Like, and if it doesn't have like something that connects you to it, you might be on to the next, right? Yeah. We're trying to build community that this is their place, right? No matter who you are, what your background is, where you come from, you come here and you feel comfortable, right? I've told this story on podcasts before. This community table, this long table, our first year, I was, first year you're working as much as any employee that you have. Yeah. You know, you're working shifts. Sure. So I'm collecting glasses and I'm like kind of listening to conversations that are happening. And there's two couples sitting kind of like next to each other at the table, and I hear like, oh, you know, like they just sort of picked up a convo, like, hey, you know, nice to meet you. Yeah. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Chatham, you know. You're from Chatham? Well, we're from Chatham, you know. Like, oh, that's cool. Like, you've been here a long time. Yeah. What street you live on? Like, blah, blah. Like, I live on that street. and I like stopped. I was kind of like a creep because I was like, I should have moved on. Yeah. From, like, the class.
Like, where do you guys live again?
Yeah, and I was just like standing there like this. And they were like, wait, what's your address? They were next door neighbors that had never met, and they lived there for years. Wow. And this like weird light bulb went off for me personally, because we always wanted to give a space where that was possible. Yeah. Because there's not a lot of places, like let's be honest, like a coffee shop maybe, but like sports bars, like no. Right? Like restaurants, no, right? Like pub, like an English pub, like yes, but that you don't have a lot of that around here. So why can't we give a space like that here where that can happen and kind of throw back to what it used to be like? Yeah, for sure. You know, like shut down tech, meet with friends, catch up, you know, meet someone random. Like that just gave that like that acknowledgement that that's possible, that moment. Yeah. Know? And it's cool, man.
No, it's absolutely. And everything that you're saying, as you're saying it and like as I'm looking around, I like feel that like the outside space And then this space, like, you know, obviously the inside space.
Dude, the outside, COVID. During COVID, we shut down for 10 months.
Yeah.
We're like, that was an alley with broken down construction equipment and poison weed, like gross. Like nothing was there.
Well, how did people get in here?
It to, what's that?
How did people get in here before?
So funny. Yeah, there was a different entrance that kind of walked you alongside the production. I'll show you later.
Sure.
But we needed to kind of make that all production.
Yeah.
And needed a separate entrance.
Gotcha.
This place is kind of tucked away. I mean, like we kind of like that too. It's like kind of need to know how to get in.
Yeah, it's like a speakeasy sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you get back and you're like,
it's got
this
the
is sick.
Yeah. It's like you're walking in, you might be like, I don't know about this place.
Yeah, right.
And then you like get around the corner, you're like, okay, you know,
and
you
I'm
get
feeling
inside,
a little
like,
bit.
all right.
Yeah, like and then you're in.
I like that. I like that.
So, real quick, between you, Cindy, and Scott, who does what?
Yeah, good question. So obviously you got to divide and conquer, right? So fortunately, Cindy she quit her day job and is doing this full time. So she does a lot of back end administration stuff, but mainly sales. So she's running sales right now.
When you're saying sales, you're like to liquor stores, to restaurants.
Yeah, any of our distro stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. The relationships we send beer out of state. We send pallets of beer to Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, you know, and actually into Europe too, a little bit. But as you grow, you know, you got to move a little bit more beer. So she's holding down sales. Scott is on the production side.
Okay.
So he manages. We have 3 full-time brewers.
Wow.
So, but he does. So he still does recipe development and manages that team. Right. He's not physically brewing that much, but he's back there, managing them and holding that down. And since I still have he's like 70% full-time here. I mentioned his dad has it's a family-owned construction company. Okay. So he would work that too, and his dad's trying to retire. So that's like winding down. So he's coming more to full-time here. I'm full-time day job, but I'm here nights and weekends, and I do all the marketing, all the tech stuff, brand management, brand development. I go do events, like I do podcasts. I go, you know, like
you're the face.
I try to be the face, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, when it's a little easier when I have the beer.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of how we divide it up. And things have there's overlapping and things, you know, change over time.
No, of course.
But yeah, that's actually one of the hardest things that we had to learn was like how to divide that up, because like I still come in at night and do a little bit of cellar work. So like I'll dry hop a beer or take just so I don't lose touch completely with
because that's the whole point of
production side.
Doing this.
Exactly.
Like when you guys all started, it was like you and your buddy
it's like
brewing beers in a garage.
Exactly.
And
you can't lose touch with that.
Yeah. So like I'll do the logos.
Exactly. I'll just put
you have on
poster and talk to people.
I'll post on Instagram or something.
I'll do it. Yeah.
Okay, so before we wrap the segment up, the beers change pretty frequently, right? How frequently and like how often? Like when someone comes in here for the first time, like what would you recommend that they do? It's like a better question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So over the years it's changed a little bit, but like I said before, variety's been a big thing for us. So when we were making a lot less beer, things changed a lot quicker, right? But in the tap room specifically, we like to make it where like if you come, you know, say today and then 3 weeks later, at least half the beers are going to be different, right? So, but what I would suggest, we kind of got known for hops early on. Like part of our big inspiration, you know, from other people that were making beer at the, you know, when we were deciding to open, that we were really inspired by, like the other halves of the world, the Trilliums of the world, like people that were doing these hoppy beers that really, really inspired our creativity, right?
Yeah.
And we were like, man, like if they could do it, like why can't we do it? And like, let's try to make beers similar, right? So we started, like when we make like hazy beer is like that's what people call it now. But when we were doing it, it was just called an IPA, right? It wasn't a classic IPA, but it was just an Eastern IPA, a Northeast IPA, right? So we really want to do that. So if you come here, definitely hops, you know, we're known for that, but we do a lot of lager. We're really passionate about lager. We got some additional fermentation space to be able to do more lager. So I would try lager, I would try that, and then dark beers like porter and stout, and some saison. Like those are we do some fruited beer, like, cause people like fruited beers.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
they like
Well,
beer that
I'm
doesn't
here with
taste
my
like
girlfriend.
beer. Yeah,
She wants fruitier beer. And I want a beer that tastes like beer.
That's the thing.
Which you have.
Yeah, and we try to make some styles that can be like, if you come here and we can't sell you wine or we can't sell you cider because of the New Jersey rules.
Right.
Is there some beer that's kind of like a bridge to that?
Right.
That has those type of notes? Like, does it have some white wine character? Is it a saison that kind of puts you in that space?
Yeah.
A fruited beer might put you there, right?
Right.
Because we're here to serve this community, and not everybody drinks craft beer.
Yeah.
Right. But we want to introduce you to it.
Is there also like a kind of like a balance where, like, you said, like, if I come in here 1 week and I come in here a couple weeks later and maybe like half the menu, maybe it wasn't a couple weeks you said, but
like
the next time I come in, you know, it might be half different.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that if one was like super popular, it's going to get back on that menu at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like, so obviously, like, when it comes to like serving a community, it's like a kind of a give and take. Like, you want to be creative and like push it.
Yeah.
But like, if you have like,
the style needs
how many are on that
there,
board,
right? There's 12. Yeah.
12. So if you got 12 that just hammer every time you put them on the menu,
right?
There's obviously like this weird like balance where,
absolutely,
of course, we can just keep churning out the hits,
but what
like keep playing the hits. You know, what fun is that? Like that's
so what I think the way we address that is, if you come here and this style, that style will be on. It might not be that same beer,
so
right?
Like tweak it just to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have a little bit of a different profile. But if you trust that IPA you had last time,
right,
you're going to trust this one, right? And it's going to take you on a little bit of a journey. But people, I think, know that if I have that style from Twin, it's going to scratch an itch,
right?
It might, but they're going to find their favorites and they're going to email and be like, when are you making that one again? You know, and we do, and we go back and do, right? We don't ignore that,
of course.
But it's definitely a challenge. The balance is and we're very cognizant of that individual coming in often, because that's what we're trying to curate.
Right,
is a place you don't come twice a year. It's a place you come often,
like your regular spot.
Exactly.
Yeah. So. Awesome. All right. So I think we hit everything that I wanted to hit, and we hit everything with the brewery.
Right on.
So we're gonna take our second and our last break of this episode. We'll get back with our community segment in the last part, which we've talked about a bunch already, but we'll dive into it a little bit deeper.
Sure.
So this is the Greetings from the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Ham. We're here at Twin Elephant Brewing Company in Chatham, New Jersey, with Tim Besecker. We'll be right back.
The Mayo Performing Arts Center is the heart of arts and entertainment in Morristown, New Jersey. MPAC presents over 200 events annually and is home to an innovative children's arts education program. To see MPAC's upcoming schedule of world-class concerts, stand-up comedy, family shows, and more, head to mayoarts.org or just click the link in our show notes. Bored of going to the same park? Want to try a new local adventure? Well, then check out njspots.com, your home for finding a new spot to discover right here in New Jersey. With dozens of maps to check out, local hiking spots, family-friendly places, and seasonal suggestions, NJ Spots is waiting for you to find somewhere new to explore. That's njspots.com.
All right, we're back for our third and final segment of Greetings from the Garden State. I'm your host, Mike Ham. We're here at Twin Elephant Brewing Company in Chatham, New Jersey, with Tim Besecker. So in the first segment, we learned all about you and your background, and Scott and Cindy and everybody, like, you know, kind of leading into the start of Twin Elephant. Sure. Second segment, we learned, obviously, like, all about what Twin Elephant is.
Yep.
And the beers and everything like that. So, but the third segment we normally like to do, especially for our local businesses, is the community segment, which obviously we've touched on quite a bit.
Sure.
Because you guys are from here.
Right.
And you opened a business here.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously, like, that's a big thing. So maybe we'll start with that, and then we'll kind of get into some of the other stuff that we talked about off mic. But, you know, being, like, would you ever, like, kind of take a step back and reflect on the fact that you grew up here and you, like you said, I think you said before that you wanted to give a place where, like, 20
like our younger self,
wanted to, like, go out and just do something cool.
Sure.
And, like, now you have that place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, talk to me a little bit about that and, like, the relationship with the community as a whole.
Yeah. I think that's the most evident for me personally. When, you know, like, as you get older, like, you have a group of friends, like, you're younger, you have a ton of friends, you get older, some of them do everything else. There's never, like, a place that's, like, a connector for you over the years, right? Like, this place, like, people I would have never seen that I knew from the community back then, they come in here and I get a chance to meet with them and catch up and like, you know, like that you might have never, if I didn't have this place, I might have lost touch with them forever. Right. And those are just like personal connects, but all those people lived in this community. Right. And
even just the thing you're talking about with the people sitting at the table. Like the long table. Next door to each other and they didn't even know.
Like met, right? Like, and I feel like this place decompresses the some of the anxiety you might have, right? Of like going in like into a public place and like hanging out. Like we had our high school reunion. I didn't want to do it, bro. I didn't want to do it. They like begged me to do it, right? And I finally was like, you know what? I'm going to do it because like these 10 people, I won't see, if I don't do this, I might not see them for another 5 years, right? So it was like a personal thing.
Sure.
But having gone through it, I feel like having it here made it way it like kind of like blew away the anxiety and the stress of that like normal like reunion thing where it kind of level sets you, right? And I think that's a key aspect of this thing that we've created, right? That the community can come in and it's not all beer people, it's not all this, it's like just all walks of life, right? Like literally like blue collar, white collar, everybody, like people get off the job, they come in here to decompress for a pint, you know? Right? The folks building across the street come in after they're done, you know, have a pint, chill out for a little bit and leave, right? Like it's just, it's so important to us to feel comfortable in this place. I can't say that enough.
Like that's definitely a point that's been hammered home for sure. The other thing that I think is cool, you know, obviously like I love, my favorite segment of this show is this part. And it's just been fun for me at least to kind of like learn the story behind like what's, you know, ostensibly like a successful business. Right. Like when I look at it, I'm like, obviously like you guys are doing something right to be going for.
Any business 7 years in.
It's great. Especially like in the hospitality industry where like that's probably why you were getting the door slammed in your face like every time like trying to find a space. Cause like a restaurant, it's like restaurants fail most of the time in less than a year. So like what's a brewery, especially back then, like what's a brewery going to do? But so the other thing that I think is cool, and we mentioned this before about like, you know, breweries opening and all that kind of stuff, but like just on the board, there's other breweries that you've collabed with to brew beers, which I think is cool because like you don't always see that, I guess, because it's like a very unique thing. And like I'm sure there are some people that like are in any industry where like, you know, like I need every person to drink my beer, not anyone else's beer.
Like competitive.
Exactly. Very competitive. But then at the same time, like, you know, just talking to you and like kind of getting the vibe and even seeing some of the people on the board that I may know are like, there's enough sand in the sandbox for everybody and just like 100%. Rising tides.
Lift all.
So like talk to me a little bit about that, like the collab process.
It's one of my favorite things to talk about because this industry is unique in that regard from my perspective. Like now, Jersey's gonna Jersey.
Of course.
We all got that Jersey bone, right? We're competitive, right? But in this industry, honestly, everybody's trying to help each other out, right? And we just want everybody to be making the best beer that they can, right? And creatively, to be able to make beer with somebody, you're learning their process, they're learning your process. It's a very literal collaborative effort, right? Like, and it's one of the funner things we do. And we do them with a lot of Jersey breweries, but we also do them with breweries all over the country. Right? We just did a beer with a brewery from California.
Cool.
But, you know, it's funny, this topic always lends itself to talking about breweries that opened recently, right? And we give back to homebrewers as much as we can. So we open this space up for homebrew club meetings. There's like 3 or 4 big homebrew clubs in New Jersey that have been around for years, and a lot of them will meet here, right? And it's great. They have the space. It's an off night. They do their thing. We get back. You know, sometimes we'll help in their presentations and everything. But literally, like the last 8 breweries that opened in this area we're all homebrewers from those clubs, right? So we're like almost like a feeder for competition.
You're like the Andy Reid coaching tree. It's like everyone goes on for success. You know what I mean? Like
but
that
like
kind of
any other industry, like you wouldn't be helping other businesses in in your space open close to you, right? But we're essentially doing that, you know? But to me, I think I said this before, if you have an area where there's a lot of really good breweries close, people are going to flock there, right?
Yeah.
They're going to do the tour. They're going to come. They're going to hit a couple of them, right? So we love that, right? And we've helped literally, like, Oak Flower is 5 minutes away. Homebrewer. Made beer with them 3 years ago when they won a homebrew comp that I judged, right? They won. We scaled up their beer, made their beer. Now they have a brewery.
Awesome.
You know, 5 minutes away. Right? So it's like, that is this community, this industry kind of, it breeds that. And I think that's the collabs, they're the way to tie it together, right? Like, you know, you have creativity on your own and what you do. But then you get kind of blinders on a little bit. Right? Like, you're like, I live in this silo, whatever. And then you go talk to someone that's doing something a different way and you're like, huh. You know, and that, I think that it's, you know, like, it's very artistic in that way. Right? Like, if you go meet another artist and you're like, well, my technique, you know, I do this or that, right? And you're like, huh, never thought about that. Like, that keeps you going. Right? It keeps you motivated.
I mean, like, I do the same, like, on the podcast side, just like going to conferences and, like, you meet people that are obviously, like, also doing podcasts. There's like thousands of people there. You know, like, and like, I start talking to some of them and they also do them, but like, they do something totally different. But then you start, like, talking to them, they're like, they do like a self-help podcast. I'm like, it's not this. But like, the way that they market it, the way that they, like, you know, like, edit their shows or like whatever it is, it's like there's little things you can pick out that like connect with what you do, and you can like use that to make yourself better. And I'm sure it's like the same thing
if you have an open mind.
Of course, if you have an open mind and you're like willing to like accept
if you don't look at them as like a direct competitor, you're a competitor.
Of
like,
course.
I don't want to talk.
Right. Like, we don't.
I'm doing everything to take you down. You tell them, like, no, don't do that. No, don't do that.
Definitely.
Don't do that. But the clubs are fun, and we do them with like other businesses that aren't breweries. Right? Like, we make, you know, so there's a climbing gym close to here, right? We do events with them, right? There's like a cheese shop. We do events with them. Like, we've done beer with musicians, like a ton of Jersey musicians. Like,
talk to me about that. Like, how does that work?
It's fun. So it's interesting because you do run across a lot of sober musicians. Right?
Because some of them
they've gone through some things, right? They tour and do a lot of stuff. But they're still very interested in the process of making beer, right? And there's some Jersey bands that I was in bands when I was in high school, right? Like hardcore punk, you know, like very into emo and ska and indie stuff. And we always had this support for the Jersey scene, right? Like back in the day. And a lot of these bands got really popular and then kind of they're like, you know, they're 20 years in and now they're doing solo stuff. And we actually have them come and play acoustic shows. Like we do like, you know, 100-person ticketed shows here, right? Like the Singer on Thursday played a couple weeks ago. Like, you know, but then how do you connect with them on a creative level of like, even if it isn't, I don't know much about beer because I'm sober, the label, right? The art for the label, the name of the beer, right? Like there's a lot of ways to creatively connect with those folks. Like we did a beer with Dillinger Escape Plans, like a very popular metal band from New Jersey the day. We made like a barrel-aged stout and the original singer designed the label, right? Like, and he like did the whole nine, like, and it was such a fun collab, right? And like, he's a Jersey guy. Like, it's easy to connect. One thing about Jersey is like people are real, right? Like, so it's very, no matter what you've gone through, where you live now, whether you come back, it's like, there's that like Jersey connect, right? You kind of have that like, that wink and nod thing. Right?
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. Cause like we've been doing, and I mentioned to you that we've been doing a lot of this recently, just like, you know, more artists, musicians, kind of like trying to tap into like that part of it. And like, that's been a very different experience also, but just like, but at the same time also being like very connected. They're like way different than most business owners.
Right. It's not like
just like
your business is different than like a brick and mortar
this
business.
is like a brewery, and then this other one is we had like a lingerie shop, like one of our first like 20 episodes.
Yeah.
Like I was like, that's way different.
Yeah.
But you're still business owners at the end of the day. Like they're trying to like make money and
build your brand.
Yeah, of course. And then like a musician comes on and like they're, most of the time, like maybe like a little bit different when you're talking to them and telling those stories, like what the stories are going to be. But at the same time, like it always goes back to like the same thing, like growing a brand, like selling whatever that product is.
Yeah.
And, getting people to be engaged.
To connect.
Yeah.
And I think like being genuine, like musicians by nature are like, this is me, right? Like,
yeah, sure.
This is my
bearing their soul.
Right, they're bearing their soul.
Yeah.
We try to, that's something we always keep in the back of our heads is like, we're not chasing something. We're not trying to be something. We're just trying to, for better or worse, be us genuinely, right? And there are times where that you get like pulled and you have to get back on that focus of like, no, this is just what we do. You know, like there might be a bunch of things telling you not to do that, but like there's a reason we do it. Let's stay the course, like see it through, right? And like, I think the businesses that do that, no matter what industry, I think have a better chance of succeeding.
100%.
When you're chasing something, when you're trying to be something, like it can work.
Yeah.
Just I think a lot harder.
So you got to have a plan, but you need to be like super flexible about that plan.
Super flexible. There's like there's a joke in the industry of like brewery business plans are like the biggest farce. Like you have to do it. Like you have to do it.
Yeah, of course.
But it's like literally trash in 6 months.
Yeah.
And like for better or for worse, but it kind of you have to reinvent yourself like all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we kind of like that. Like keeps you on your toes, right?
For sure. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm sure you and I, it seems like we can keep talking for forever.
Yeah, man. You have to shut me up.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, I could also, I could also kind of keep this episode going myself, but I want to make sure that we, keep it for people that actually like have made it all the way to the end of this episode. So if people want to learn more, so it's been great though. Like this has been
appreciate you.
One of the best episodes I've recorded in a while. But if people want to learn more about Twin Elephant, like what you guys do, like where are some places that they can go to do that? Yeah.
So our website, twinelephant.com, you can go there to see the beers that are currently on tap, on draft, what you can get to go. You could reserve a reservation for a table, whatever.
Is that recommended to do a reservation for a table?
No, only if you have a larger party.
Okay.
So like if you're like, I got like 8 to 30 people.
Sure.
Definitely do a reservation. Instagram's like that's been our platform since day one. Twin Elephant Brewing on Instagram. We'll do the same thing there every time we have a new beer release. I painstakingly I'm not a photographer, right?
They're pretty good pictures.
But I think I've gotten decent, right?
7 years.
7 years you get decent. So, follow there if you want to know the beers that get dropped and released every week.
Yeah.
And then Twitter, not so much. But
sure.
We push the Instagram post to Twitter, but go to Instagram.
Awesome. And then the address.
Oh, sorry. 13 Watchung Ave in Chatham. Like we talked about before, it's not like the pin. If you put in the GPS, the pin will take you here. It's a kind of a larger parking lot. You park and you have to walk around the building. There's signs that point you. And you come through the beer garden into our tap room. Eventually, we're going to have an entrance on this side of the road.
Oh, cool.
Because they're building 320 condo or apartments over there.
Yeah, right.
But the parking lot, you'll find on the Watchung Ave side of the road. So
awesome.
The pin will take you there. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Well, Tim, thank you so much for doing this. It was great having you, and thank you for having me in your space and doing this with us. And
cheers, brother. I know we have no beer. That's illegal. We can't do that.
We can't do that.
We're gonna get another pint, and then we're gonna
right. Yeah. Official cheers. That'd be bad luck. Even though you smashed like 1,000 mirrors there.
We've got our fair share of bad luck.
This will be like the one thing that cancels it out. So we're not gonna do it. But so we'll make sure that we put the links and the social handles in the show notes. People can go to click that. We'll also put greetingsfromthegarden.com, which is the website for the show, in the show notes as well. So again, this has been the Greetings from the Garden State podcast. I'm Mike Ham. We were here at Twin Elephant Brewing Company in Chatham, New Jersey. with Tim Besecker. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Cheers, y'all.
It's up to you.